Welcome to the Neysa Mohammed Show, transforming the planet one story at a time, bringing forth beauty, truth, and goodness. I am Neysa Mohammed. I am here today with Lin Laurie, the author of That Gratitude Attitude. Hi, Lin. How are you today?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you for having me today.
So, Lin, could you tell us about yourself and how you came into the subject of gratitude?
Sure, okay. I've been a writer for a long time, and I was taking a personal development class to try and get rid of some of the problems that I was having in my life and just create a better life for myself. And they were asking us in the class to find something that we wanted to go out into the world and use in conversation with other people. And I chose acknowledgement. And I went out and I did this around work and around my friends for 2 days. And I did it where you take some paper clips in one pocket, and as you acknowledge a person, you put the paper clip in the other pocket, and you would try to do 5 a day. That was the goal. And after just 2 days of doing this, whenever I would say, thank you, I really appreciate what you've done for me, and I would really deeply acknowledge them and not just say a nice little thank you and brush them off, but something like, Neysa, thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. You're going to allow me to be heard by more of the world than I am right now, and that's a wonderful gift, and I just want to thank you so much for allowing me to be on your show. When I would acknowledge people in that kind of a way, their faces would light up, they'd get really happy, and that response would in turn make me feel better. And I just thought, how can I do this for the rest of my life? Because I really like what it's doing for other people, and I also like what I'm getting back out of doing it, and that's how it started. And I started looking for ways to have that be part of my life on a daily basis.
Being thankful and grateful be a daily experience or an ongoing experience?
An ongoing experience. And as a writer, I've been a writer most of my life. I've done some other things, but I've either been a technical writer, a mystery writer, I've done an autobiography. Writing is who I am. I'm about writing. And I wanted to find a way to write that was something uplifting and empowering for me to do. And in the past, when I did a mystery, I found that I would sit in my room by myself in my office, and what you do as a mystery writer is you plan how to kill people off. So my whole thought process was involved in negativity, in trying to figure out ways to make people die violent deaths. And I would sit in my room and figure this out all the time. And that wasn't a very happy place to be. And when I started looking at gratitude and acknowledgement and how to make that part of my life's work, I found I was happier. I didn't want to write mysteries anymore. And you have to know that I wanted to be a mystery writer since I was 10 years old. And I just let that go and found that writing about gratitude, writing about self-improvement, any of those things was a much better place to live in than in a negative space like writing a murder mystery. And I wrote violent murder mysteries. So I really let that go.
So when you say gratitude, what do you mean when you say gratitude?
What I mean is having a life where what you do is you go to a place of gratitude whenever anything happens. So you're grateful for the experiences that you have in your life. You're grateful for your situation. When you have a problem, you don't go to that negative place. You go to, how can I find something to be grateful for in this devastating experience? And I found ways to overcome. I was a rape and molestation victim, and I found ways to even get some gratitude around those places, and that takes some work, let me tell you. that takes a whole lot of work to be able to look at that in a positive way. But that's what gratitude can make you do, is it can make you look at your circumstances in a way where you can see the positivity in them instead of just the negativity. And I mean, I think we all know people who've had tragic circumstances happen to them, and they get to make a choice. Do they want to be a victim of that tragic circumstance and go around for the rest of their life being miserable, talking about their life being ruined? Or do they want to say, yes, this happened to me, I'm sorry that it happened, or I hate that it happened, but I choose to go on and lead a better life because this happened, and not let it affect the rest of their life. And so for me, gratitude is about getting people to experience life in that way. And it's a practice, and it's an attitude, and it's a virtue, and it's a lot of other things. But the way that I like to think of it is that I help people develop a practice of gratitude so that their attitude is one of gratitude and gratefulness, and so on and so forth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does. What I'm hearing is that the creating gratitude in your life gives you access to having a more fulfilled experience in life. And forgiveness is the thing that I hear in the background.
That's definitely part of being grateful. There's part of the practices in going through your life and looking for areas where you can forgive people. I think a lot of people are familiar with the phrase that if you're resentful and you don't forgive somebody, it's like giving them space to live rent-free in your head. I always like that that explanation. But I don't want people living rent-free in my head. I want them out of my head. I want to be able to be with people, trust people, and love people. And when you're holding back because you're resentful about something that happened to you, you can't do that. You can't really be with people because you're afraid you're going to be victimized again. So I've gotten all that stuff out of my space. I don't know if you talk about space when you interview people, but for me, I take all those things out of what's in front of me, and then I can really be with people and experience them, not from a place of fear, but from a place of just being present to who they are. And so gratitude is a practice that can help you get to that place where you can let go of some of your fear about past experiences.
Yeah,
and I really like it for that.
Not letting your thoughts define the here and the now.
Exactly. So so my book, I have a book called That Gratitude Attitude, and that has 21-day gratitude challenges in it, so that people can experience for themselves the work that it takes to actually start looking at life with grateful eyes. And then I actually run gratitude challenges throughout the year, and they're free, and they're 21-day challenges where people can get inspirational quotes, they get little short stories on gratitude, they get an action exercise, and they get journal exercises every day for 21 days. And so I've got a lot of people following me and participating in those challenges, and so I actually get to see the difference that my writing makes. Most writers, they write a book, they put it out there, and then they don't have any connection to it after that. But because I've created these gratitude challenges, I have a lot of connection with the people who are actually doing the work. And that's a much better place to write from and to be in. And writing is not a lonely practice when you do it that way. So that's been another thing that I found that's positive in doing gratitude.
So you've created a process where they can engage in this conversation of gratitude ongoingly, like they can have it like always and forever. It's not just something that they're going to read about, it's actually something they're going to experience.
They can if they choose to participate. What I really like is to have a framework so that when people, it's really nice to read a book and you have a moment or two of ahas, and then you put the book away and you go on with your life. And that's how most people read books and live around a book that they've read. And what I like doing is having put together a framework for them to continue to experience and improve what they're learning around gratitude. So it's not just a book that you put away on a shelf. It's like you've got the book, and in between the gratitude challenges, you can read the book, and so you can have gratitude in your life every day, but you can actively participate during those 21 days. You can talk to other people in the weekly calls. You can have other people in your workplace do it so that you can be talking about it, and you're participating on a daily basis by reading. Sometimes I have little videos in there, and then there's a lot of different homework assignments. And after I've done this 4 times, I now started to realize that I'm going to do themes. And so the next theme will be play. So what I find is what I need in my own life, and then I bring that to my gratitude practice, and that helps me get better at those things, and then I help teach other people as well. So, and I've always, my whole life, kind of been the person that goes out, figures things out, and then tells other people how to do it, or shows them, trains them, whatever. And so this really falls really well into what I've been doing my whole life, and I just love it. So I can't wait to start the
You're very lit up about it.
Yeah, I really, really like it. I found where I want to be in life, you know. I think a lot of times we're looking for that path, and we find things along the way that light us up a little bit here and there, but I've always waited to find that one thing that I was going to be passionate about, and I found it now, and I'm 57, and I'm really excited. I found it before my life is over, and I get to experience actually living that way for, you know, I hope I live a long time and can do this for many, many years, but I'm really excited that I found it and get to do it. So,
yeah,
and other people, oh, I was going to say other people from all over the world are actually following me. So it's really exciting to see that I can make a difference to people, not just even in this country, but out in the whole world. I just love knowing that there's that many people that are interested in it, and I'm only getting started. I've been doing it 9 months. So,
wow.
And I'm 600 and I think 80 people that have subscribed so far. And my first group was 80 people, so that's how far I've come in 9 months.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you how big your groups are. So how is there any limit to how big the group can be?
No.
Okay.
I might, if people start to be on the phone calls or something, then I might have to limit the phone calls. But right now, I think I use a conference call line that I think you can have up to 100 people on a line or on a call at the same time. And so that's the only limit, and not that many people don't show up on the calls so far. So that's not a real problem. And I just send out the emails. I use something called MailChimp, and there's not really any limits as to how many people can be subscribed to MailChimp.
Right.
So
like, what do you want, like, for people? What do you want them to have access to when it comes to gratitude?
I would really like them to know that there's a place that they can go to have a practice, that it occurs regularly, and that they can socially link up to other people and start to generate gratitude for their own lives, bring their friends and family into it, and just create a life where the focus is gratitude. And the way that you know that you've achieved that is when your response to somebody, when something happens tragically to someone, and the first place you go to is not, I'm so sorry this happened to you, but, oh my God, think of all you learned. I had a friend who broke up with her boyfriend and was really, really devastated about that. And this is when I knew for myself that I had transformed my way of thinking to go to gratitude as the first place that I go to and not anywhere else. And that was when she said she was breaking up with him. I told her, think of all the things that you've learned along the way, because he's been an amazing partner for you and you've had a wonderful journey. And it totally shifted her way of thinking from feeling sorry for herself to going, yeah, he was really great, and it's over and it's time to move on. And so it was nice to see all the power that that conversation brought to her. And that's what I love about gratitude, and that's how I see I can change people's the way that they feel about their lives is through using gratitude. So
yeah, and I hear peace, like having peace at any given moment, no matter what's going on at the time. You can have access to peace.
Yeah, and my brother, one of my brothers, I come from a family of 8 children, And I'm the oldest, and one of the brothers in the middle, who's around 50 or was around 50, died in January. And I had another brother die a few years ago. And the difference in my suffering around those two brothers' deaths was huge, because the first one died, I went into a very deep depression. I started to take Ambien because I couldn't sleep, and I happened to be losing my job at the same time. And so I really, really suffered around his death. And I loved both of my brothers probably pretty equally. But when my second brother died, I was probably 6 months into my own gratitude initiative. And so I found that I was sad, but I wasn't deeply depressed. It didn't cause me to do a lot of suffering. I was just more feeling the sadness and the loss than I was about making it personal. And so the way that I reacted with it, the way that I approached it, the way that I helped my family deal with it was completely different. And it was a much better way to deal with death than the first death of my other brother. So,
Yeah, well, what I'm hearing is, what you're saying is so interesting because um, I can see one of the first things that we say to others when they lose somebody is how sorry we are that they lost that person. And it
yeah.
immediately creates something, it creates an experience out there for that person to be a victim. And if
Kind
you're,
of I thought of it that way, but yeah.
if you're participating in conversations like if this were a recent experience for you, I could have you experience something different in my speaking. Like by saying something like, um, "What was really special about your brother?"
That's a great question.
You
Yeah.
know, what was his what were the gifts that he left in his living, or
And to
something
me,
like that.
the biggest gift my brother was to me was he left me with a wonderful niece that I just absolutely love and adore, and she's been in my life since she was born. And that's the closest I've ever had to a child. So it's almost like he gave me a daughter. That's how close I feel to her. So that was a huge gift. And he was a warm and loving person, and yeah, so it gives you the ability to talk about him in that way from a positive experience instead of looking at the fact that he died as being a horrible, negative, tragic thing. And maybe that's why I was able to approach it differently. But all I know is I did not suffer. I cried a little bit, but I wasn't devastated. And when my other brother died, the difference between the two experiences was just night and day.
Yes. Yes.
So gratitude, I know for me, was really, really helpful in dealing with his death, and I think it's been helpful to me in a lot of other ways too. And that's what I want to bring to other people, so that they have that in their tool chest as a go-to tool, and they don't go into the depression and the loss and the victimization of tragedy. They go into, it's really sad that this happened, but there's a lot of positive experiences that I got for myself, and maybe it's just about being strong enough to survive it, but there's a positive thing right there to be grateful for. So
Yes, for me, you're realizing that you are strong enough to survive it.
yeah.
Whatever it is that you may be dealing with.
Yeah, and I don't have a really strong religious background or anything, but one of the things that I did get out of practicing gratitude, and so have a lot of other people that are doing it with me, is a deeper connection, a deeper spiritual connection. And that was a big surprise to me. I wasn't looking for it, so it wasn't something I expected at all, but it's something that happened not just to me, but a lot of other people who've been following me. And so that makes me feel really, really awesome to help bring people some deeper spiritual connection, because I think a lot of people go around looking for that, and I just tripped over it. But it's been awesome to re-experience it again. So
Yeah.
yeah. I always had a spiritual connection, but I wasn't really much for going to church. But now I feel like I've God back in my life, and that's not something I was expecting in any way. I just knew he was out there somewhere, but didn't feel connected. And now I feel much more connected in that way, too.
So this is a great way to get connected spiritually.
Yes, but it doesn't have anything to do with that. I mean, I don't in my I would call them like blog posts, I guess, but they're little daily writings. I speak very little of God, but it's in having people just open up their hearts. What I think is there's like this shield we put up around our heart, and then we start to withdraw and get disconnected from people. And as we start doing that, we get disconnected from God or the spirituality that's out there in the world, all those things, we sort of lose the connection with them. And in practicing gratitude, what you start to do is get reconnected with people. And then as you're getting reconnected with people, you start to feel more joy. You open up, and that shield around your heart starts to lift up, and it allows you to start experiencing more joy and more spiritual connection and other things that are just lost for a lot of people. So I just feel so happy that I found this for myself, and then I can bring that to other people. I mean, if that's the only thing I ever did in my life, I would be really happy that that was what my life was about. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
That's yeah, I didn't realize I felt that way until now, but I really do. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank
So,
you for
so how can people get into contact with you if they want to participate in your gratitude project, or if they want to get a hold of your book? How would they do that?
Well, my book is available on Amazon.com, and my name is spelled Linlaurie, so you could Google that gratitude attitude, and you should find it up there. I have a website called That Gratitude Attitude. I also have a Facebook page called Lin Laurie hyphen the Gratitude Project. And you can also email me at linlaurie, the number one, at hotmail.com.
Great.
I would love to hear from people if they're interested in learning more. I'd be happy to talk with you.
Great. Well, Lynn, thank you so much for being on the Neysa Mohammed Show. We appreciate you being here.
Well,
And
thank you for having me. It's been so exciting.
world
Huh?
and sharing gratitude with the world.
Thank you for helping me get the word out there, too. I just so appreciate what you're doing. Thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome. So please stay tuned for the Neysa Mohammed Show. Thank you.